Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about preposition. Preposition is a word used to link nouns, pronouns, or phrases to other words within a sentence, right? So, prepositions are usually short words and they are normally placed directly in front of nouns. For example, we woke up before sunrise. So, before is preposition here. We often stroll along the beach. So along is preposition here. She waved to him. So to is preposition here, right? So there are some examples, and there are different categories in which prepositions are divided. So first is preposition of time. What is preposition of time? These are three, like for example at, on, and in. At is used which indicates exact and specific time, so we'll use at. For example, I started working at 10 a.m. The movie starts at 6 p.m. So at is used for the specific time, right? So next we have on. Where do we use on? On generally indicates a fixed date or a day. For example, I'll see her on Friday. So because we have named the day Friday, that is why we'll use on here. Then we use in. In generally indicates indefinite and unspecific time of month, seasons, years, and centuries. For example, I will get a holiday in December. So we'll use in for unspecific time of month, right? Then we have from, to, until, since, for. Where do we use from, to? For example, I worked there from 2010 to 2017. So because we are talking about the beginning and the end of a time, that time we'll use from, to. Then we have until, till, right? So until indicates a specific time or unspecific time event up to a point. For example, they will not return until Friday. So it talks about specific or unspecific, but it talks about to a point of a time, right? Wait for me until my arrival. So that is why we have used until here. Since, when do we use the since? Since indicates a long time span beginning in a time in the past and still continuing in the present. So for example, now. So since is you. For example, Anusha has been in the village since Sunday. So she has been there since Sunday. So that is why we have used since here, right? Then we have for. When do we use for? For indicates a period of time, amount of time in the past, present, or future. For example, she stayed there for 4 days. If we are saying that she stayed there for 4 days, that time we'll use for. Otherwise, if we will mention the specific day that she has been staying there since Wednesday, if we'll name the day, that time we'll use since. Otherwise, we'll use for the unspecific time, right? Then we have before, after, during, and by. Where do we use before? Before indicates a prior event or period of time from a point. For example, Rubal was very nervous before the interview. So that is usage of before. When do we use after? After indicates following event, period of time from a point. And this preposition is the exact opposite of before. For example, Robin felt confident after the interview. So that is the opposite of before. Then we have during. How do we use during? During indicates a period of time throughout the course of duration of any event or action. For example, Romy was sleeping. There's example, they don't talk during dinner, right? So during is used throughout the course. Then we have by. By means within the extent or period of during something. For example, I will complete the assignment by Sunday. So it will be completed till Sunday, right? Then we have preposition of places. Preposition of place indicates where something is or where something happens. It can be like across, in, inside, on, outside, under. So it talks about the place, right? First we use in and at. Where do we use in for place? One example is that your shirt is in the closet, so it is talking about it doesn't not indicate exact place, but it talks about the placing of something. He lives in Australia, so the whole vicinity is mentioned here. Then we have at. Where do we use at? At indicates the exact place. He is at the door. So for example, during the campus he is standing at the door, so we'll use at here rather than using in, right? Then we have on indicates position but touching the object, right? For example, the phone is on the table, so phone is touching with the table, and if the location is above the table, so that is why we use on here. Then we have above. Above indicates a much higher position and then the preposition on does. For example, it indicates something out of reach. For example, the sky is above my head, or hold your hands above your head. So it is not touching the object, that time we use above. Then we have over. Over means a position between on and above which is not touching. For example, the clouds, there are clouds over the hills. A bird flew over my head. So these are positions which are on and above, right? Between on and above. Then we have under and below. Where do we use under? Under is the preposition of on, and which means below the surface of something. For example, the cat is under the table. Then we have below. Where do we use below? Below indicates something at slightly lower position than what under indicates. So it is there, it is way more lower than it. Below, I have a scar just below my right eye, right? Then we have by and beside. Where do we use by? By means near to or next to something or someone. For example, he has a house by the river, so it is near the river, right? Then we have beside. Beside means at the side of or next to something. For example, the car beside the cycle is mine. So it talks about the placing just next to something, right? When we sit on a desk. Then we have behind, in front of. Where do we use behind? Behind means at the far side of something. It might be out of sight. It is opposite in front of. Okay, for example, he parked his car behind my car, right? Then we have in front of. In front of means position facing something, right? So he parked his car in front of my house, so that is the usage of it. Then we have between and among. When do we use between? Between indicates something or someone to be in middle of other two things or persons. For example, Arun is sitting between Robin and Rahul. So we are talking about the position between these two objects. Then we have among. Among is indicates something or someone in the middle of three or more than other things. So more than two people, that time we'll use among. It is divided among people. For example, Arun is sitting among the patients, right? So there are many people, that's why we have used among. Then we have preposition of direction. So one is to and from. To indicates a motion in the direction of a place. So he went to college. So because we are talking about the direction, so we use to. Where do we use from? From indicates the point of place at which a motion, journey, or action starts. For example, he came from England, so it's talking about the point of the place, right? Then we have into, out of. Into indicates a motion towards or going inside something. It has many usage. For example, he came into the house, or the police broke into the bar, like that. Then we have out of. Out of means the opposition, opposite of into. It indicates a motion towards outside of something. For example, he's going out of town. So it indicating outside, motion towards outside something. Then we have through. Through indicates a motion in the middle of something, right? For example, we drove through the tunnel, so because the you or they came through a forest. So something is, if a person is going through something, right? Then we have across. Across means going to the other side of the river or other side of the road or something straight, right? For example, he went across the river. uh, I walked across the road. Then we have towards. Towards means a motion in the direction of something, literally or metaphorically. For example, take 5 steps towards the post and stand there, or they moved towards the Labour Party, like that. Then we have up. Up means a motion towards a higher place or position. We were climbing up the mountain, like this. Then we have down. Down indicates the position, opposite meaning of up, and it means a motion towards a lower place